Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be devoted 100% to plants growing in acrylic yarn. I've been growing plants in acrylic for, I guess it's going on 2 years now, believe it or not. So I'm going to show you I guess a sampling of all the different types of plants that I have growing in acrylic yarn. This isn't all of them, of course, because I have a lot more plants than this, but just want to give you an idea of what's possible, okay? And what you can expect if you want to try growing your plants this way. Some tips on how to grow them using this method, and the feed that I give them. And this is not a sponsored video at all, but this is what I use for all my waterculture, semi-hydro, and yarn, acrylic yarn growing plants. It is Better Grow Orchid Plus. Water-soluble orchid fertilizer has micro and macronutrients. You could see minor elements. And 20-14-13 is what we're working with here. Now, the 20 is the nitrogen, and let me tell you, that is higher than, let's say, MaxiGrow. MaxiGrow does not have as high a nitrogen content. I don't know why, but I'm not going to question it. All I'm going to say is that this is what I use for everything. Easy to get a hold of. You can get it at big box stores. You can get it online. Very easy to work with. Very diluted. I use very diluted feed, but this is what I use. Everybody's constantly asking me what I use to feed them. Here you go. This is what it looks like. And again, this is not sponsoring this video or any videos, but I'm sharing this because it works phenomenally well, as you can see from all these plants. I'm going to go through these plants one by one and tell you how I started them, how I maintain them, and if there are any challenges that you're going to come across if you do this. So let me just move this out of the way and we will get started. So let's start on the left-hand side, okay? This is a Phalanosis Orchid. This originally was from a big box store. It was growing in one of those little tiny pots of sphagnum moss. This has grown a lot since. As you can see, there's also a lot of happy sap, I guess you call it, because I don't have any bugs on here, but I have a lot of sticky sap. The roots, aerial roots, are growing like crazy outside of the vessel, but down inside, we have the acrylic yarn, and I just watered this, so there is a lot of water in there, but that's fine. This will get, this will evaporate, and the plant will drink this up very quickly. This watering was not including feed. Next one probably will. There probably is still some feed in the acrylic yarn, so I'm not worried. But anyway, look at how healthy this plant looks. Not only does it look healthy with the leaves, very firm, not dehydrated at all, but the roots are going crazy. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. I love roots. Look at that. Fantastic. So it is very, very possible to grow your orchids in this way, and they will do great. If I was to have the correct lighting and temperature, I'd probably get this to bloom fairly easily, but this is in a warm area that gets a lot of bright light. And the warm area, it doesn't get cooler at night. So this is not spiking, but I may have to fiddle with it if I want to get it to spike. But at this point, I'm just happy that it's doing so well in the setup. Okay, next up, we have something that you guys have seen before, and it has grown a lot since the last video. This is my Cissus rhombifolia, which is the Grape Ivy. As you can see, it has grown a lot since the last video, and it is growing acrylic yarn, of course. You can see the beautiful roots are continuing to grow. The older roots are the orangish brown. The newer roots are the white. So you can see there is still a lot of new root growth. Anytime that roots die in acrylic yarn, what I do, and this is something that has helped and it saved a lot of the plants. A lot of times when you're growing plants and the roots die and they're in a semi-hydro type setup, because this is really like a semi-hydro using the acrylic yarn, almost like you can kind of liken it to rock wool, I'd say. Very similar. But what happens is sometimes the roots are going to die, you know, because they have a life cycle just like anything else, and they'll start to get like dark brown and black. So what I would do is every time I would water it, I would flush it out first. So I'd fill it up, flush it, fill it up, flush it, fill it up, flush it a few times. And then I would empty it out completely. It would be very, very wet though. The acrylic yarn would be very wet. But then I would add in my nutrient solution with the water that is going to stay in there. But I do that so that I flush out anything that's decaying in there. You flush it out because eventually it's gonna be kind of like slimy or powdery if it dries up. So you want to just keep that clean, get it out. You could also lift the whole thing up if you wanted to, like this. Take it to the sink and run some water around it. But I've never had to do that yet. And as you can see, the plant is doing just great. It's doing phenomenally well. So Cissus, rhombifolia, Cissus discolor, Cissus amazonica, all of them do great in acrylic yarn. All right. Next up, we have one that's going crazy. As we know, Tradescantia, the wandering dude, inch plant, whatever you want to call it, they do great no matter what, right? They're just easy to grow. But in acrylic yarn, they do even better. As you can see, let me back up a little bit so you can see. As you can see, this plant is, now it's under lights. It wasn't under lights for a while, so it was very, very, very lanky and etiolated, but now it's under lights. So the part that's under lights is starting to get a little more compact, getting some color. This is Blue Sue, Tradescantia Blue Sue. It's like the Purple Heart, except the blue variety. And it does phenomenally well. Now this one in particular is in a self-watering pot. And I get these on Amazon. They're very easy to find if you just do self-watering planter or self-watering pot on Amazon. Again, I'm not an affiliate and nobody is sponsoring anything. But I like to share what I do because I'm so excited that everything is doing so well. So yeah, self-watering pot. I make the chain with my hands out of the acrylic yarn. And the two ends of the chain, I kind of, what do you call it? There are two larger holes under there, and I stick them through those two larger holes, and they're into the reservoir. Then when I fill this up, I make sure that it's not quite touching the bottom, and that lasts for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and then you don't have to worry about this at all. Of course, add your feed if you don't want to have any deficiencies, and I'll show you what a deficiency looks like on the next plant I'm going to show you, because, actually not the next one, but one of the next ones. I'll show you what a deficiency looks like for one type of plant at least. Sorry if I'm talking fast, I'm just very excited because I love talking about growing plants in acrylic yarn. Okay, so this one is going back. The next plant I'm going to show you is one that you have seen before in a few videos. This is a snake plant. This is Moonshine. I love snake plants. They are easy. You can forget about them. In acrylic yarn, you can let them dry out completely. They will be fine. And as you can see, the roots are doing phenomenally well. Look at that. Look at that. There are roots everywhere. So you can see how long it's been in here. It's been in here for quite some time. We have more than one plant. We got 2 plants, 2 crowns. And as you can see, they are throwing out leaves left and right. We got lots of new leaves in here. And the plant, actually, is that 3 crowns? That's 3 crowns we got. 3 crowns, folks. So yeah, doing phenomenally well. What I like to do with snake plants and any type of succulent that I have growing in acrylic yarn, because yes, you can grow succulents too, I let them dry out almost completely. So you see how this is darker where it's wet? That's where the water line is. I let it look like it does up here before I water it again. Okay, they won't rot because I've done the opposite. But lately, because I don't have a lot of time, I let them dry out and then I rewater them. They are just fine. They love it. And as you can see, we got lots and lots of growth. Acrylic yarn, snake plant, Sansevieria, or Dracaena, newly categorized in the Dracaena genus. All right, next one I'm going to show you, I have not shown before, okay? This is one of my older angel wing begonias, okay? I'm not sure if this is Sophia, has the red underside. I'm not sure. This did not come with a tag. but it doesn't matter to me because what it was just a stick, because in the soil, like everything else in my life in soil, it was declining. It was not doing well, lost all its leaves, it dropped all its leaves, had some root rot. So I said, all right, I'm just gonna put it in yarn and see what happens, okay? And this was it 6 months to a year ago? I don't remember exactly how long, but it grew a new little sprout here with leaves. It grew new leaves at the top, at the growth point, terminal growth point. Put it in the yarn, as you can see, in a self-watering container. The roots went all the way down the yarn. That's down into, that looks, oh, I gotta clean out that water. It doesn't look so clean. But anyway, as you can see, this plant, Angel and Begonia, it's loving life in acrylic yarn, okay? I have not given this feed yet, but I will. I don't know why I haven't. I think it's just because I have, well, this is just a sampling and you can see how many plants I have. So yeah, anyway, this one will get feed, but I just want to show you Angel and Begonias, especially on the brink of death, do phenomenally well in acrylic yarn. Okay, the next plant I'm going to show you is the one that shows a deficiency. This is either a silver stripe philodendron or cream splash. I can't remember because some of the leaves look like silver stripe. Some of the leaves looked like cream splash, as you can see. I'm not really sure. I know they're very similar. Oh, this one down. Look at this leaf down here. This is exciting. I'm sorry, guys. Look at that one. That's pretty. Wow. Anyway, this wasn't doing so well, and I realized it's because I was letting the yarn dry out too much. Philodendron don't necessarily want to be dry, okay? But I wasn't feeding it, okay? And look what started to happen. The leaves started to get this weird, first of all, a weird shape. And second of all, they started to get a weird coloring on them. I thought, oh, maybe I have bugs. Maybe I have thrips. No bugs I could find anywhere. But you can see there is something going on, and I believe it was the deficiency. So, see the coloring on the green parts? They just don't look healthy compared to what it used to look like back here when it was being fertilized with slow release fertilizer. Okay? So I started giving it some of my orchid feed, and we've got some new growth. So I'm excited to see how it looks when it grows out. But philodendron loves growing in acrylic yarn. Okay? So again, without feed, it'll survive. Look at how pretty this leaf is. I love this leaf. This leaf is beautiful. I just want to look at this leaf all day. Okay, so philodendron, phenomenally well, except without feed. You want to make sure that they're getting some sort of nutrients, okay? But in general, doing well, as you can see. If we're going to stick with this genus of plants, let's stick with this genus of plants. Over here, I have my pink princess that was in water culture for quite some time and was not getting a lot of feed, so there were a lot of deficiencies. Here's the same sort of deficiency issue I was talking about. But now we got feed, we got new leaves, and we've got some variegation in the pink princess. See the difference? No feed, yes feed. This one is a yes feed, so I can't wait to see how it looks with the orchid fertilizer, this one too. Now, one thing that I noticed is with this, when it was in, Pink Princess is a very, very touchy plant, okay? Everybody knows that if they have one. Getting them out, the leaves to unfurl without any damage is not easy. I don't know, I mean, people say it could be the feed, it could be the humidity, it could be any number of things, light. I really can't speak to that because I don't know. This has not changed light. The only thing that has changed is the feed. And to me, the way this new leaf looks, and there's another one about to pop out of there, it makes me think that maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't know enough for sure to be able to tell you. But anyway, water culture, this thrived for a while, but then I lost all the roots. Just one day she said, I'm going to throw all my roots and you are going to have to figure out what to do. So I said, all right, thanks. Thanks, little princess lady. So we have a new growth point or two down here, which is fine. This is the acrylic yarn now that she's in. So yeah, I started with almost no roots when I took her out of the water culture because she was not happy. Not happy. This is one that was just not doing well in water. But so far so good. New growth. Hopefully we'll see. We will see. So we're going to stick with the same genus now. And we're going to move to one that you guys probably remember. You've seen it. And I'm kind of sad because in preparing for this video, I found mealybugs. Look at this. This new leaf, it was all deformed. And I'm like, well, it's definitely not a nutrient deficiency because this one's been getting a lot of feed. Turns out there were some mealybugs here that I had to get rid of. Mealybugs here in the growth point and in another growth point. I think it was, where was it? I think it was over there. So I just sprayed it down with my alcohol, which I will continue to do. Anywhere in the joints that you see may have little white fuzzy stuff, that's what I do. But look at this. And this has been an acrylic yarn for such a long time. I have this vine that's growing out. It's very, very healthy. Doesn't have the bugs, as you can see. The leaves are beautiful, right? Another growth point here, another growth point here, another growth point here, and a growth point over here. So let me back up so you can see. This is the Epipremnum Pinatum Baltic Blue. Okay, that's what this is. This one needs to be watered, as you can see. You can barely see the roots because it's very dry in there. And they're all wrapped around the bottom, but this plant loves being in acrylic yarn. So after this video, this one will be watered. Okay. So let's move to a different plant family. Let's start with the Hoyas. I have a lot of Hoyas, some in semi-hydro, lava rock, leca, but I also have some in acrylic yarn. This came, I don't even know what variety this is and what species. I don't know if this is an Australis, sorry, Hoya Australis. I don't know if this is the plain, the non-Lisa, but it was a cutting that was like a gift that came with an order. Stuck it in some yarn and look at the roots, they went nuts. This is also very dry, so it needs to be watered, but as you know, Hoyas are epiphytes, so they're used to their roots drying out a bit. So this one is fine, but I will water it. But look at how much they love the acrylic yarn. They love it just as much as I do, or maybe not as much as I do, but I don't think anyone loves acrylic yarn as much as I do. So that's this one, okay? If you know what this is, if it's not a Hoya Australis, let me know because I have no idea. I have a lot of Hoyas, but I don't know all that much about certain varieties that I don't have. So, you know, if you know what this is, just let me know. Okay, that's that one. This one, I can't remember what this one is. Oh. All right, I'll remember at some point, but if you know, just leave a comment. New growth point, since I put this in the yarn. This came as a cutting as well. Look at those roots going crazy. Any others anywhere? No, no, no. All right, but so far so good. New growth. Hoyas are amazing. They're like they feel fake. Every time I touch my Hoya leaves, I'm like, you're not real. And then they're like, yes, I am. Water me. Kidding, they don't talk. So those are my Hoyas. Again, same situation. I try not to let these guys dry only because they grow faster if you don't let them dry out. But if they dry out like this, no big deal. They're fine. They'll bounce back. But again, I use the same orchid fertilizer for all these guys. Okay. Next family is the Skidia. Yay! I have Oeantha variegata here, and I have Million Hearts, Ruscifolia variegata. Beautiful plant. This was maybe 2 strands when I stuck it in the yarn, and it's directly under light, so the top of the yarn is covered in algae. It's really slimy and gross, but the only way that I would be able to stop that is if I dried this out completely. Well, either I dried this out completely and then flushed it out a few times, or I changed it out. I'm not going to do either of those things. I do let it dry out, but not completely, and the plant has been fine. From those 2, I think it was this one and this one maybe, we have so many more growth points. Look at this. This one even has 2 on the end. It is loving life in acrylic yarn. That's right, everybody. And you heard it first here 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever. And I'm so excited because so many people are starting to try this and grow their plants this way. And the proof is in the pudding. They love it. They love it. And it's easy. It's really easy. As long as you keep it clean, you're not going to have any root rot issues. Look at these leaves. Some of them are completely white. That is cool. I love that. I need to calm down. Sorry, guys. I'm too excited. Okay. So same situation with these guys. I keep them moist most of the time. Usually I forget about them. They're very forgiving, very succulent leaves. Look at how thick they are. Very, very succulent leaf plants. So these are Skidia. And next up I have one. Now this plant family never gets spoken about. This plant is actually a weed in a lot of countries, okay? This is Parietaria, which is Pellitoria or Pellitoria, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. The reason why I have this plant is it was growing as a weed, and it is the host plant for a butterfly, the red admiral butterfly, here in North America. So I said, oh, I want that plant. And I said, I just don't want it to die. I don't know what to do. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put it in yarn because everything seems to respond well to that. So I did, and it has already started growing. The plant is doing just fine. This is in one of the self-watering with the yarn, you know, coming through those larger holes, wicking up the moisture to the rest of the plant. The plant loves it. It's doing just fine. I have not given this plant any feed yet, but I will soon. Since it's a weed, they're used to being in very low nutrient substrates, so I'm not going to worry about it. But as you can see, just water and yarn. And this is what you get. So really, really cool. All right, guys, last plant family I'm going to show you are the Coleus. Coleus are amazing. Coleus are beautiful. Coleus have always been a favorite of mine. This one is Bonnie Gold, and this one is La Freak. I've showed this one in a video recently, but not this one. This one was growing in, where was this? Was this in water or moss? I can't remember, but I have recently transferred it to acrylic yarn substrate, okay? This was probably in yarn, but a small cup, and I moved it into here. Just been a couple weeks, but already it is throwing roots into the reservoir like there's no tomorrow. Look at all those roots. And even though this one has only been for a few weeks in this planter, this plant, over a year, has been in this planter, okay? Acrylic yarn, there's the tag for the plant. Acrylic yarn. We've got even algae in the bottom, which I could remove that bottom reservoir cup and clean it out. Whenever I want, I could do that. But as you can see, and again, the yarn is wicking through, is going through those larger holes and wicking the moisture up into the rest of the potted plant. But look at this plant. Look at this. Look at the color. This is right up against a north-facing window, which gets absolutely no direct sun, but still we have the color that we're looking for. Beautiful plant. And when I back up, and I recently took a cutting. Where did I take? I think the cutting I took was from here because there was another branch there. Somebody wanted one. But look at this. Look at this beautiful plant. I could shape this better if I cut this back. It'll get more bushy. But I'm just letting this do what it wants unless somebody wants a cutting, and then I would take a cutting and prepare that. But even down here, the stem is getting woody. It's just so exciting. It's just so cool. So anyway, that's all the plants for this video. I could keep going, but you guys will get very sick of my voice like I do. And it's just the same thing over and over again I'd be saying. As long as you take care of them, as long as you keep them clean, give them lots of bright light. Doesn't necessarily mean direct sunlight, but bright light. These are under, the Skidias, the Hoyas, all these are under LED lights, the grow lights. So as long as they are in, you know, getting the minimum of what they need as far as light is concerned, and you're giving them the feed. This is a new branch right here, actually, in the Iowantha. Yeah, as long as you give them everything that they need, they will. Oh, look, we got roots down there too. They will perform for you, and they're thrilled to do it, okay? So let me back up so you can see it again. So many families of plants that love being in acrylic yarn, okay? If you have any questions about any of the plants that you see in this video or the family of plants that you see in this video, let me know. If you have any questions, I will discuss with you, because this is not all encompassing all of my yarn garden, I call them, all of my acrylic yarn growing plants. I do have a lot of others in different families, but this is just an idea so you guys can get an idea of what you can do with it. It's amazing, it's amazing. If you have questions about the actual acrylic yarn that I use, I will tell you what I believe is the best, because I've tried a lot of different types. You don't want to use wool. That could rot easily because it's a protein. It's the hair from, sheep. So I like the inorganic acrylic. 100% acrylic works the best. You could also get nylon or polyester. For me, 100% acrylic absorbs and wicks moisture the best, but especially certain brands. So we could discuss that, if you have any questions. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything. I love talking about this stuff. Don't forget to like the video, comment, share the video, subscribe, hit that bell if you want to be notified anytime I upload a video, and I will see you in the next video.